Greetings and welcome. Joseph Kursky here, geographer and education manager on the ESRI education team. My colleagues and I are dedicated. We're focused on helping you be successful using GIS in education. What we've been doing in these sessions is we've been focusing on teaching geography with ArcGIS Online. In the first 3 sessions of this particular series, I made the case as best I could for why and how to use ArcGIS Online in the context of education to enhance teaching and learning. We went into some examples and we talked about the reasons why. In the 4th session, we examined a specific example in depth, specifically looking at births, life expectancy, and growth rate around the world, country by country, over time from 1960 to the present. In the 5th session, we looked at sub-country data, specifically UK deprivation zones or deprivation rates by neighborhood according to the census. We looked at the top 5% and the bottom 5% in terms of deprivation. And then we analyzed some of the reasons why the patterns were the way they were. In the 6th session, we looked at plate tectonics, so back to a global scale, looking at earthquakes and volcanoes and plate boundaries. We also, though, at the end of that session, showed how to add data from a web page that had a live feed, for example, the last 30 days of earthquakes. And we showed how to add that in and analyze it and look at the patterns, comparing the historical earthquakes to the last 30 days of earthquakes. We also zoomed in on a couple of earthquakes and volcanoes, showing that you can really get into quite a bit of detail looking at landslides, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes, or any other phenomenon in a local context. In this session, which is the 7th and last session of this particular series of Teaching Geography with ArcGIS Online, let's talk about how to bring in local data. Now, there's a lot of ways to bring in local data, and I'm just going to concentrate on a couple of them in this particular session. The first way is, let's start with ArcGIS Online, so arcgis.com, and I'm going to click on Map. Well, let's say I'm interested in developing a greenway in a community. Okay, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to zoom in on a particular community. And let's say we zoom in on North Platte, Nebraska. So North Platte is at the junction or confluence between the South Platte River and the North Platte River. And as you can see here, east of town, it actually becomes the Platte River, which flows all the way down to the Missouri River at the east end of Nebraska. Let's say we are city planners, and your task is to design a green belt that actually goes all the way around North Platte. Okay, so let's say we take a look at some of the land use up here. We've got a state park up there. We've got a railroad track that we're going to have to go around, and not just any railroad track, but this is quite a significant piece of railway here. It is actually the largest switching yard in the country, going right through North Platte, where a lot of the western trains switch out with the eastern trains here in North Platte. Fascinating place to look at transportation issues. And then we've got the South Platte coming in here on the south part of town. So let's say after our research, we determine that we've got several different layers: land use, topography, land ownership, and so on. And we can change the base map if we want to a Bing Maps aerial and take a look at what the terrain looks like. But let's just say that we're going to start our urban greenway here on the south end of town. Okay? And after examining our different data layers, we're going to we're going to create an editable layer. Okay, so this is going to be called Greenway. Okay, what we have there is we're going to have a trail in the greenway. We're going to have some access to pedestrians and bicycles and anyway, non-motorized forms of getting around. And we're going to get a template of things that we can add. One of them is a freehand line. So let's say I want my I'm just going to plan this part of it from this road over to this particular north-south line of longitude. So I'm going to plan it right here. I don't want to get too close to the river. I want to avoid this gravel pit over here. Okay, so that's our segment 1. I'm going to change the symbol so I can see it a little bit better. I'm going to change the color to yellow, and I'm going to make the thickness a little bit more. Great. Done. Close. Super. There is our first segment. If we zoom in a little bit more, we're going to see that we might want to tweak this a bit. Look, we've got looks like a power line running over here, which isn't a terrible thing to be underneath, but we've also got some tweaks that we need to make here. We can't really be routing the trail through these trees. We don't want to tear down trees. We're trying to get people out there to experience the landscape. So in a more of a detailed, larger scale sort of a way, we can start to make tweaks of on our boundary here, or our line in this case. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to go ahead and edit. All right, we're going to click on this line and we're going to say edit. Okay, so now what we've got is we're going to get rid of this pop-up. See, you've got these vertices that now you can make adjustments. We want to go around this tree, we want to go around there, and we want to be down here south of that tree. We don't want this to be too curvy. All right, we want to minimize some of our construction costs here. So you see what I'm doing. Okay, we're done, so we're going to get rid of this, and now we've made our adjustments. So now I can go all the way around the city of North Platte with my proposed circular bike/pedestrian path around the city. So that's one way to add and edit and input your own data. Then we can save this map, and we can call it ArcGIS Online My Map, right? I can sign in and then go ahead and save that. Okay? Then you can share that with other people by just providing them with the URL. Super. Okay, that's one way to add your own data. Another way to add your own data is actually with a data set that you've collected maybe on your GPS from trees that you've collected out in the field, or pH in streams, or historical buildings in a town, or it could be something you've collected on your smartphone. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go out to a place where I've got some data stored, and I've got it stored in my own web page, and I've got it stored underneath right here where I've got under Geotech and Education, my Motion X GPS track to Piccadilly Station, Manchester, England. I'm going to go ahead and save the link as, and I'm going to save it to my GPS folder here on my own computer. Okay, super. And I'm going to call it Track to Piccadilly Station, Manchester.gpx. Okay, save. Cool. Okay, there it is. Now I'm back on my ArcGIS Online session. Great. Now let's go ahead and add data and add layer from file. Choose file. Navigate to where your file is. In my case, it's in my GPS folder. It's called Track to Piccadilly Station Manchester.gpx. Import layer. Super. All right, so now we're going to turn off our Greenway example and let's track to Piccadilly Station, and there it is. Look, it even zoomed us right to Manchester, which is great, but I can't really see it that well, so I think I'll go ahead and let's change the symbology here and call, let's change symbols, and in single symbol, I don't know if I want single symbol. I want based on color, and how about the field? I've got elevation here, so why not? Let's change the lowest one to a yellow so we can actually see it on the map. So apply that, and then OK, and super. So what do I have here now? I'm done editing. Apply, and I can go ahead and get rid of the symbology there, and let's go ahead and zoom in to super. super. Okay, so I have let's go ahead and pull up the legend. The lowest elevation is right here. It looks like, as I suspected, there was a hill going up to Piccadilly Station, which is this train station right here. So these are the darkest of the colors, and the lightest of colors was over here by the University of Manchester. All right, super. Let's take a look in closer detail. Wow, I'm really quite happy with this. Now, this was collected on my smartphone. Okay. And you know what I might want to do is I might want to change the symbology to make them bigger, but you can see here that I started over here. I walked along this street. I walked down this way through these buildings. We've got a little bit of overlap of points on buildings here, but I did walk here, and I was right next to the railroad line. So let's just go ahead and, wow, look at this on this path. Let's go ahead and measure our offset. I'm going to measure it in meters here. And right here between this point and the center of the path is 3 meters, but this one right down here is spot on, and so are these up here. So I'm really quite happy with the collection in terms of the accuracy actually of the point based on what I'm seeing on the aerial photo. Realizing that the aerial photo is not perfect either, but that's a way for you to add in not just your tracks and waypoints from your GPS device or your smartphone, but actually attributes. So, for example, historical buildings, it could be tree height, tree species, pH in streams, or a whole wide variety of other things that you've been out there collecting. The size of cobbles and pebbles on a beach, for example, and looking at how far from the shore and what the size of the pebbles and cobbles and boulders are based on distance to the actual breaking surf. So all kinds of things you can map, and that's just 2 examples of how you might add your own data into ArcGIS Online. One more thing now. Let's go ahead and create an editable layer, map notes, and let's add a push pin right here at this spot. So this is a Geographical Association Conference site, and okay, I've added a point there. And what I want to do is I want to be able to add the image of where I was. So let me go out and search for an image that I took. Okay, I've gone to my Picasa web account, and I've got a whole series of photographs here on my Picasa web Dropbox. These are photos that I have emailed to myself and automatically placed on my Picasa web account. And this could be Flickr or other photo services. And in this case, I've got a picture of myself at the Geographical Association Conference. I'm going to copy the image URL there, go back to my map, see where it says image URL. Well, it's just a matter of pasting it right there. And then this is the site of the 2012 GA conference. And close. That looks good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the editing box, and now I'm going to click on this, and now see I've got my photograph embedded here with my little bit of metadata and my title. Now think of this outside the box here, folks. This could be pictures of the streams that you're collecting data in. This could be pictures of those cobbles and pebbles and boulders along that beach. This could be pictures of the buildings that you're collecting as far as historical and building types and the materials used and so on, or historical events in your community or around the world. It doesn't even have to be where you actually have stood and collected data. It could be around the world. Famous political uprisings over the years, or famous art across different countries around the world. Examples of biomes around the world. Here's taiga, here's chaparral, here's desert, here's tropical rainforest, here's temperate rainforest, etc. Possibilities are endless. Land use types, barn types in rural areas. Really, the potential here is just vast. And as you can see, it is a breeze. It is very simple to be able to add your own data. And so then, of course, now we could save this map and name it something that we can search on later, and we could share it with other people if we wanted to. So we've covered 3 different ways to add data. We've added a line, which could have been points or polygons as well. Remember in North Platte, Nebraska, for a proposed urban greenway that encompasses a bicycle path or a pedestrian path. We've also added data from our GPS or a smartphone that we've collected. In the case that we used here, I collected that on my iPhone with something called Motion X GPS. but My Tracks, and there are other ways that you can do that on an Android or an iPhone. There's a variety of different tools that do that, and I gathered mine with that smartphone and emailed the GPX file to myself, and then we just added it to our map. And then this very last thing that we did was we just added a point. Of course, it could have been a line or a polygon as well, and we added some metadata. We added some text. Remember, this text could be a description of what battle happened at that particular site, or the history of, in this case, Manchester, England, and why it became such a prominent industrial town, and why it became famous for shipping cotton, and how in the world they ever got ships in there anyway. So a little bit of the history of the canals there. And we can add multimedia. Photos, could be sketches that your students make. It could be a video, right, that you're running in this box. So 3 different ways of adding data to ArcGIS Online. And again, the whole purpose was to illustrate how you might use ArcGIS Online to teach geography with, to enhance what you're doing in your geography classes, to foster inquiry, and as well as career skills. So thanks for being with me, and we'll take care.